I met him in 1990, and we got married in 1992. And the verbal abuse started really happening within that first year. And then when I was pregnant with my first son, that's when the physical started. The very first instance was we were shopping for baby items, and he shoved a grocery cart at me, and I was probably about 4 or 5 months pregnant. I was already showing. And I just remember it was in the middle of a department store, and just feeling that shock and disbelief that that didn't just happen. I mean, I knew what he was doing was over the top, it was wrong, he'd crossed the line. Was it worth it to me to have this upheaval and leave? It wasn't bad enough for me to go yet. I had my second son and had just returned from the hospital, and my mother had come into town for a couple days and just to help out with a new baby. And in that interim of dropping her off at her hotel until we were going to see her again, it was one of the most horrible instances that happened in our relationship, where we'd had a disagreement and he pushed me down on the floor, and then he started kicking me in the ribs, in the back, and I just had a baby, and all I could do was curl up in a ball. It was very terrifying because I didn't know if he was going to stop. I didn't know if I was going to die. I finally had the courage to leave when my ex-husband went away for a weekend. The night I came to Rosebrooks, I had nowhere else to go. And I remember driving over the Heart of America Bridge late at night, and the lights of downtown were in front of me, and I was leaving this past behind me and just crossing this bridge into a new life. It was very symbolic for me. My youngest son at the time was with me, and he was so calm as we were driving over this bridge and on our way to Rosebrooks, and he was my co-pilot, and we had left everything behind. All my possessions were in a garbage bag. That's what we had, our clothing and the car, and that was it. And we were making our way to a new life. They got us hustled in and upstairs and got us into a room right away. And just, we were together and we were safe. My ex-husband there was a restraining order that I put out against him, and he had arrived at my workplace and was arrested. I wouldn't have known how to do any of that if it hadn't been for Rosebrooks. And then we had a court appearance. I was terrified to go through that by myself, and I was very, very blessed that Rosebrooks had a court advocate to go with me. By showing up with the advocate, it deflated his power. When he encountered us outside of the courthouse, he was shocked that I had somebody there and that it was a representative from Rosebrooks, and it really, I think, made it black and white to him. The idea of completely uprooting your family and admitting that this all is real is very overwhelming. And I didn't want to be weak by leaving. And that's the boundary I'd set for myself, that if I stayed, I was strong to stay and weak to leave. And that mind shift had to happen for me. And that's exactly what happened, is that it was stronger to leave than it was to stay.